Very good evening to all of you. Today we will start our discussion with a new sense organ, that is ear. We already completed different other sense organs present in our body. I will provide you a list of different receptors which are present at different part of our body, and they are responsible to be associated with different part and responsible for what I can say, sensing specific type of substances. Basically, if you try to classify receptors based on the position, they can be external receptor which are present outside the body. But as I said you, that stimulus is not only present outside body. Any kind of energy can be a stimulus. Any kind of chemical can be a stimulus, and it is present inside our body. So based on that, the receptors can be broadly classified as external and internal. Now the thing is that based on stimulus also they can be classified. So can you people tell me that what are the types of receptors we studied already? Olfactory receptor, very good. So apart from that, I just wanted you people to prepare a list of receptors based on the type of stimulus. Means so I hope you are understanding what I am saying. I want all of you means grade 12 students also, to make a list. You can refer any kind of reference book also, but I want you people to make it. Why I'm not teaching? Because I want you people to do a research. I'll give you a few examples so that you can understand. First type of receptor is known as mechanoreceptor. So what they are based on? What do you mean? Movement or any kind of physical force. We call them mechanoreceptors. Now these mechanoreceptors can be Mecinus corpuscle, which are present in the dermis layer of the skin. They can sense touch. Some of them can be responsible for sensing pressure. There can be like receptors which are present at the hair root. They are responsible for giving us specific kind of senses. They may be present around genitals. They may be present in case of pancreas. So they can give us specific kind of senses. Apart from that, there can be some receptors which are acoustic receptors. Have you ever heard about acoustic guitar? What is that? So it is related to sound. Okay. So in case of sound, the thing is that the receptor is responsible for respond to sound. We will learn about them. There are hair cells present in our internal ear which are responsible for detecting the sound wave. So sound wave is a physical wave. That means it causes movement in the particle of air. So these receptors are responsible for sensing them. There are receptors which are responsible for sensing the pain. Pain, like if anyone is pricking you at some part, if you have a cut, that can be sensed. Some receptors are responsible to sense the temperature. Okay. There are what I can say, receptors like Ruffini corpuscle. They can sense if there is any stretching in the body. Like if someone is touching, and if they are pulling or pushing, if there is any stretching of the cheeks, skin, that kind of thing is understood by Ruffini corpuscle. Understood? You find out. I didn't say whatever I am writing, you write it down. I said you try and find out. Okay. So next thing is, if there is itching, there are receptors which can find that. If there is movement of body part, there are receptors which can find that. For example, aquatic animals, especially fish, is having a lateral line sensory system. You know, have you ever heard about it? In the spindle shaped body of the fish, in between, there is a line which is called lateral line. So that can sense the water current. That can sense the nature of the wave, the water pressure. So similar way, we have receptors in our body which can understand the pressure of air, because we stay in air. So these are different receptors present in skin. Apart from that, as I said and I taught to you, there are gustatory receptors which can sense the taste. There are olfactory receptor for smell. Okay. We already studied about optic receptors which are present in rod and cone cells. And today we will talk about the last type of receptor, that is acoustic receptor or audio receptor. Any doubt? So should we start with ear? How many ears we have? So we are terrestrial organisms, isn't it? So do we have any similarities or dissimilarities with the ear-like structure of aquatic organisms? So in our case, the ear is subdivided into many parts. Let us have a look into the structure of ear. So this is a rough diagram of ear. Obviously, when we will be study about different parts of ear, we will enlarge them and draw once again, because this is how it looks roughly. Okay. Now, ear can be further subdivided into three parts. This part, which is visible from outside, most of the people have this part intact. That's why we think whatever we are saying, they are listening to us. So this part is known as external ear. This whole part up to the whole part which is present up to the auditory canal is known as external ear. Now, which part is having middle ear? Can anyone tell? All of you studied about ear earlier. So it is external ear is ranging up to tympanic membrane, and here this part I will try to show you. This part is known as middle ear, and this part is known as okay. So Rujal, can you hear me clearly? Because too much background noise is there.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
No problem. So we will try and know about each of these parts of ears. Okay. Now the external ear is the part which is coming in direct contact with the ear, and external ear has the ear pinna. This part is known as the ear pinna. I am allowing everyone to draw the portion. This demarcation should be very clear to it, that up to what external, then middle, and then internal. So external ear is having ear pinna. In our case, we don't have pointed ear. Like cows, buffaloes, they have a pointed ear. And in their case, this pinna is having a muscle through which they can move. So to have the maximum reflection of sound and making it reach to the eardrum, they can move the position of the ear pinna. We don't have such facility. That muscle is rudimentary in us. So anyone can guess why? So what are the important parts of external ear? We don't have to move our ear because we can move our head. Okay. Second thing is, if we need to hear from for something which is far away, we can keep our hands like this. Cows cannot do that. So that's why they have those muscles active which can change the direction. So pinna is having, there is a reason for this kind of shape of ear pinna. Not for wearing earring. It is just because the pinna should be able to reflect maximum amount of sound into the internal part. Okay. Now, pinna or earlobe, the upper part is having cartilaginous bone, and this is a loose flap of skin. This part does not have any kind of bones. Okay. Now, this is known as, there is a pore. So I'll start labeling. So this is known as pinna. This is auditory hole. Okay. Now this part is known as auditory canal, or it is also known as auditory meatus. Okay, this auditory canal is slightly S in shape. Why there should not, it should not be having a straight structure like this? Why it should be slightly bent the way it is drawn here? Very good. So if we are inserting something inside our ear, that should not be hitting our tympanic membrane or eardrum. That's why this is there. Because you are not listening. What I say? Why it should not hurt? Because if it is straight, if you are putting even Johnson, but it will touch the tympanic membrane directly. If anything is going inside, it can directly damage to the tympanic membrane. Okay. So now this canal, generally the opening of canal, which I mentioned as auditory hole or auditory pore, is having small fine hairs. In some cases it is big, it is visible, but most of the cases we have fine hairs present there. And in canal there are ceruminous glands. These ceruminous glands are modified type of sweat gland or sebaceous gland, which is responsible for secretion of earwax. Now, why we need to have earwax? That will be collected in by the ear wax. It will not go inside. And the internal ear will be protected. There is another reason of having this auditory canal. Can anyone tell me this reason is related to physics? Acha, chalo, yes, correct. So sound get reflected. There is a terminology for that. You know, when I'm talking like this and it's like I'm calling just Prachi, Prachi and Prachi. Can you see the difference between? So why this is here? Echo हो रहा है? Echo में तुमको प्राची 2-3 बार सुनाई देना चाहिए. प्राची, प्राची, प्राची. वैसा तो नहीं हो रहा है. So then, like, what is the secret? There is a terminology called reverberation. That is repeated reflection of sound, which will amplify the sound. So you need to write down the function of each and every part. You should know about the function of pinna, auditory hole, and auditory channel or auditory metal. I request all of you to write it down. So pinna is responsible for reflection of sound. Hole is the part through which sound enters. And auditory canal is responsible for protecting the internal part. And it is responsible for reverberation of sound. No problem, take your time, I will wait. So, see, we should regularly clean our ear. That is very much required. But we should understand that the external part of ear is present. You can understand this much big auditory canal is present just to save the internal part. That means how vital these internal parts are there. So we should be careful while cleaning our ear. ऐसा भी कुछ use नहीं करनी चाहिए with which the internal part can get damaged. So at the end of the external part will come the membranous structure, which is also known as tympanic membrane or eardrum. So this is the membrane which is known as tympanic membrane. This membrane is very interesting. Why? Because it's a semi-transparent membrane, and outside of this membrane is having epithelial part, and at inside it is having squamous epithelial part, and inside it will have columnar epithelial part. And if you see closely at the structure of this tympanic membrane, it is quite fibrous. Why fibrous? Because it needs to have that tensile strength to vibrate. It should not break easily due to sound. That's why it is quite fibrous. And if you take a close look at tympanic membrane, you can see at the center of tympanic membrane, which is also known as umbo. It is known as umbo. So the center of tympanic membrane, from this center, the fibers are radiating and it is forming a membrane. Outside this tympanic membrane, there is presence of but by the outer layer, there is presence of a layer of mucus. Why this mucus membrane or mucus layer is required? Because mucus will trap the dirt and dust even if anything is reaching to the tympanic membrane. So I will repeat once again. Tympanic membrane is the last part of the external ear. Okay, so this is a membrane with high tensile strength, because at the pressure of sound it will vibrate, so it has to be very much tensile. So elasticity should be there, and that is ensured by presence of fibrous tissue present. At the center part of this membrane is called umbo, from which you can see the radiating fibrous tissues which are radiating towards the periphery. And outside layer is squamous epithelium, inside there is columnar epithelium, and sorry, not columnar, cuboidal epithelium, and there is a membrane of mucus. Okay. Now, after this last part of external ear is the middle ear. Okay, so this short part is known as middle ear. What is the specialty of this middle ear? This middle ear is having a cavity which is known as tympanic cavity. Okay, so middle ear is comparatively simpler. It is made up of three parts. One is this cavity which is known as tympanic cavity. Second are these three bones which are responsible for vibration and transfer of sound to the inner part of the ear. And these three bones are known as commonly as ear ossicles. Okay, so apart from that, then there is a last part of middle ear which is known as eustachian tube. That is known as eustachian. So let us know more about each of these parts. Tympanic cavity is a simple cavity which is responsible for receiving the vibration of tympanic membrane. Okay, now you know the speed of sound in three medium: air, water, and solid. Where the speed of sound is more? Air, water, solid. Air. It is more. Sure. फिर बोल दो कोई एक जन लिक्विड. So I don't have words. Okay. So the thing is that this cavity is having air, and it is ensured that this cavity, that is tympanic cavity, and the ear meatus or auditory canal is having equal air pressure on both the sides. Okay. Why? Because if there is unequal air pressure, for example, inside there is more pressure, outside there is less, the tympanic membrane will rupture. So when vibrating, obviously outside pressure is more, but later on it is ensured that it should not be always very much high. So these three bones are solid and they are very efficient in transmitting sound to the internal ear. Three bones are there. In common name, we call them hammer, anvil, and stirrup. So they are called so as hammer, anvil, and stirrup because this one looks like a hammer. Okay, hammer not in the sense like that. It looks like hammer because it has structure like this. So that's why it is known as hammer. And then there is anvil. What is anvil? If you have seen ever any blacksmith, you would have been recognized anvil. Anvil is the part on which they put their metals and then they beat it to give it a shape. So this part is anvil, and the last small one is the stirrup. Uh, Stirrup is something which is used at the foot of horse, so that their hoof should not be what I can say destroyed. So there is a U-shaped structure which is nailed into the hoof of horse, so that when they run, the hoof should not be destroyed. So that is called stirrup. It is very lucky. Some people mount it at the entrance of house. But lucky matlab kharid lo, to then it's not lucky. You have to find it accidentally, then it is lucky. So you can try roaming in the area where lots of horses are there. Someday you may. Before board examination. Ayushi, any ideas? So these three bones are interconnected and they are very, very small. Small, that's why they are known as ear ossicles. So what will happen as soon as the air pressure comes, the malleus is attached, malleus which is the good name of hammer, and then incus and stapes. So these three bones will vibrate and touch with each other and the sound wave will go to internal air. Okay. What is the role of Eustachian tube? Eustachian tube will maintain the pressure of air. This is opening at the mouth portion. That's why ear and throat is not mouth, actually, the pharynx area. That's why I taught you there is nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. So this tube is responsible to maintain pressure. How? If there is more vibration which is not good, then what will it would do? It will there will be creation of air pressure. So that extra pressure of air is getting out via help of Eustachian tube. Okay. Let me tell you, our ear is having a capacity to hear sound 20 to 20,000 hertz. Okay. And there is a unit of sound which is called decibel. So it is said that sound up to 75 decibel is audible. We have very bad habits of listening to loud music, especially plug-in earphones. We don't realize, no, we have to use. It's not that we can always, but we should understand that ultimately it is causing damage to your ear and it is causing damage to your brain, because it is observed that noise pollution is having effect on mental state of a person also. So unless you want to be turn into a person who is deaf, or you want to call yourself mad, so you should take care of sound. Especially I am highly objecting the kind of that वो क्या होता है शादी के टाइम पे they carry the ढोल नहीं रे ढोल तो is very good speaker. If you go by the side of those speaker now, you can see your heart beating. So you can understand, chalo, if I'm passing by, it's all right, tolerable. People who are doing that, अरे, if you are dancing there, who are deaf? मतलब ये तो ऐसी बात हुई कि जो deaf नहीं है उनको deaf बना के speaker बजाए. So we should not practice such kind of things. Okay, because that high amount of sound can cause auditory impairment. And let me tell you, treatment of ear is not very easy. If internal part of your ear is damaged, जैसे cornea transplant होता है या फिर lens को हम replace करते हैं, we still don't have option to replace our ear ossicle or work on our internal ear. So we have to be very careful. And Indian government has such rules, which is not. Here to no one, especially on Navratri. Anyways, so This is the situation. Now we will talk about the next and most important part of ear. Because why I'm calling them most important part, beta? Because uh, this this is the part which is responsible for conversion of the sound into what? Into the impulse. That's why internal ear is very important. Now, if you look into this part, you can see this stapes is opening into a small window over here, which is known as oval window, or it has a name called fenestra ovalis. Apart from it, somewhere here there is another window which is round, which is known as fenestra rotunda. So these two windows are maintaining the balance of ear into the internal air. So they will maintain the pressure, internal pressure or pressure of air in the internal ear. Okay. So let me tell you the path. Sound after reflection from pinna will reach to core, then via reverberation of auditory canal, it will vibrate the tympanic membrane. It will vibrate the malleus incus stapes, and through stapes it will enter into internal ear via ovalis. Very correct. Now we will talk about the internal ear. If you look into the structure of internal ear, if you take a cross section of internal ear, you can see outside there is a labyrinth. Do you know what is labyrinth or labyrinth? Anyone? Any idea? This is kind of bhul bhulaiya. Have you ever heard about bhul bhulaiya? There are passages which are so confusing that a person may get lost. In India, there is one bhul bhulaiya in Lucknow, isn't it? So there are labyrinths. Outside there is a labyrinth which is called bony labyrinth. So there is a labyrinth which is called bony labyrinth. Inside bony labyrinth, there is another layer of labyrinth which is called. So I'll draw it with some other color so that it will be very clear to you. So this part is known as membranous labyrinth. Okay. Now there are fluids present at part. In between the bony labyrinth and the membranous labyrinth, there is a fluid which is called perilymph. And then in between the membranous labyrinth, there is a fluid which is called endo. So why we need to have such kind of labyrinth in our body? इसका लोकेशन इस ईयर में यहाँ पे ये जो conch shape structure है that cochlea is full of this bony and membranous labyrinth. So why should we have bony and membranous labyrinth? How it can be helpful? It will increase the surface area. So surface area is increased, and why we should have then bony and membranous both? Because bony is giving it a primary framework which is giving it protection, and bony is having limitation of flexibility, limitation of division, which is provided by who? By the membranous labyrinth. Understood? And the fluids present at both the position are having slight difference in their composition, which is there to maintain the density. Okay. Now, two parts are there in membranous labyrinth. These two parts are known as cochlea, which is responsible for hearing. And in internal part, there is another very, very important organ which is there, which is known as vestibular apparatus, which is having an organ known as otolith organ. O-T-O-L-I-T-H, otolith organ. This is responsible for maintaining equilibrium. जो हम सीधा खड़े होते हैं, स्ट्रेट चलते हैं, जब टर्न लेना होता है तब टर्न लेते हैं, that is called organ of, that is due to organ of otolith, which is present where? In the vestibular apparatus. Okay.
cochlea और vestibular apparatus को membrane प्रेजेंट
Vestibular apparatus is the apparatus which is maintaining the equilibrium of body. Inside the inner part only. Beta, cochlea and vestibular apparatus are two different things. That's why I am taking their names two separately, na? Okay, up to this it is it clear, everyone? Yes, sir. So now I just wish to, so this is the cochlea part, the conch shape structure part is known as cochlea, and vestibular apparatus is located somewhere here, which is responsible for maintenance of the balance of body. Is this part clear? You want me to take a pause? You can have a look and then you can ask me, and should I proceed then or should I continue? Because we will be moving towards a complicated part. So we will now see the internal part of the internal ear, that is the cochlea. Okay. So if we take a cross section of cochlea, we can see three canals. Okay. These canals look like this. The upper canal, okay, which is connected to the oval window or fenestra ovalis is known as scala vestibuli. Okay, the middle part is known as scala media. And the lowest part is known as scala tympani. Yes, beta. So these are three canals present in internal ear. Now, two membranes are there. In between scala vestibuli and scala media, there is one membrane. Let me first teach, then you can draw. That will be easy. There is a membrane which is present in between the scala vestibuli and scala media. This is known as Resiner's membrane. Okay, and another membrane is located between scala tympani and scala media. This membrane is known as basilar membrane. So the scala vestibuli and scala tympani is filled with perilymph. And scala media is filled with okay. So this is the structure. This is a small part of organ of body. If I take a cross section, it's a small part. This type of canals are spirally arranged throughout the organ of body, and this difference of fluids are also there. These three layers are there. No. That's why I marked them with green light so that you can understand. All of you can take your time and draw. So this is how cochlea work. Now, in the area of basilar membrane, that is the area which is based on basilar membrane, that means it is basilar membrane is the floor of this, and it is located into which area? The scala media. Okay, there is an organ which is known as organ of Corti. It is known as organ of Corti. So what is this organ of Corti? This organ of Corti is having hair-like structures. Okay, these hair-like structures are known as hair cells. They are known as hair cells. These hair cells are a type of, you will be able to draw it once I finish. The board is not going to work and run away from it. Please listen to me first. So these hair cells, they are known as stereocilia. Why stereocilia? Because they can move by the vibration of sound. That's why we call them stereocilia. Okay. Now these sensory ear cells are in contact with a membrane, which is called tectoral membrane, and upper part is having tectoral membrane and the lower part is having this basilar membrane. And hair cells are like what I can say, they are just embedded into supporting cells. They should be protected, no? They should have a proper cushion. The way if I have a piece of paper on my hand and if I put up, the paper will move. My hand is holding the paper. So my hand is the supporting cell. And the paper is compared with the hair cells, which are also known as stereocilia. But what is the difference? The difference is this stereocilia is between two membranes. Its tip is attached with the tectorial membrane and the base is attached with the basilar membrane. Okay, clear? Now we will talk about vestibular apparatus. This vestibular apparatus is having three semicircular canals, and this part, the base of the semicircular canals are a bit swollen, so we call them ampulla. So these are the semicircular canals, and the swollen base of semicircular canal is known as ampulla. So semicircular canal and otolith organ are known as vestibular apparatus, as I said, and they are responsible for maintenance of the balance. So two of the semicircular canals are vertical, that means they are arranged like this, and one is horizontal. As you can see, this one and this one is almost vertical, and this one, it will be in the plane like this. If I draw it like that, it will not be visible. That's why I raised it. But understand, this is horizontal. Okay. So in this ampulla part, which is the swollen base of this semicircular canal, there are lumps, which is called Christie ampullars. So what is this? This Christie ampullaris is also having cilia, but these cilia are in bunch, and we call them capsula. I am repeating once again. These are three vestibular apparatus is made up of what? The semicircular canal and the organ of Corti. Sorry, the internal ear is made up of vestibular apparatus and the organ of Corti. We already studied about organ of Corti. Now we will talk about vestibular apparatus, and then once again I will revise because this part is a bit complicated, so you may get confused. Okay, so This vestibular apparatus has 3 semicircular canals. Out of them, 2 are vertical almost, and third one is horizontal to the pin. And their solen base is known as ampulla. Each of them has the base area through which it is attached is having a solen area. They also have long cilia, but these cilia are known as to have a bundle. They are not singular. They are in a bundle, and this bundle is known as capsule. Up to this part, it's clear. You want to write, you want to draw, I will wait. You draw, write, ask question, then I will proceed. I'm not at all in a hurry. So we will start talking about the 3 parts of ear. From ear pinna to the tympanic membrane is external ear. After tympanic membrane to the organ of cochlea and vestibular apparatus. Before that, this area, this cavity, and the components of this cavity are known as middle ear. And internal ear is having 2 things. One is cochlea and other is vestibular apparatus. Okay, so external ear, most simple one, it has ear pinna, which is responsible for reflecting maximum amount of sound, and it can go to the ear pore. Then there is eardrum, which has hair cells and cerumen for entrapment of the dust, dirt, insect, anything that is coming. Okay, and it is also helpful for reverberation of sound, and it's just kind of giving a distance to the eardrum so that eardrum can stay inside and stay protected. Now, next part is eardrum, which is quite tensile with different layers, outer squamous, then inner cuboidal epithelium. Outside there is mucus layer. Inside, outside, both sides. Mucus layer is there, and it is having fibrous structure to give it maximum tensile strength. Now, middle ear part is having the tympanic cavity, which is the gap. 3 ear ossicles are there, hammer anvil stirrup or Malleus incus stapes. Now, apart from that, there is a tube which is called eustachian tube, and the function of this eustachian tube is to extra pressure. If there is any extra pressure, it is removed by eustachian tube, because we cannot afford to have unequal pressure in the external ear, in the and middle ear, because that will cause damage to the tympanic membrane. So, last part, the internal ear, as I said, it has cochlea. Now, the last bone, that is stapes, is near the area which is called oval window or fenestra ovalis. So, the vibration of stapes will go inside the cochlea via fenestra ovalis. But you can understand, if you have ever seen the conch that we blow, शंख देखा है किसमें? उसमें एक होल नहीं होता, दूसरा होता है. Why there should be 2 holes? So that it can pass. Otherwise तो break ही हो जाएगा, and there will be unequal vibration. So to balance the sound which is entering into cochlea via fenestra ovalis, at the bottom part here, there is another window which is known as fenestra rotunda or round window. Okay. Now, what about cochlea? Cochlea from outside will look like as if it's a conch shell. Okay. But if we look into it, it is having 2 types of labyrinth. The outer one is bony labyrinth, which may be a passage. समझो हमारे पास एक ब्रिक से बनी हुई भूल भुलैया है, उसके अंदर फिर पर्दा डाल के हमने और भूल भुलैया बनाया. जैसे दिस रूम इज हैविंग अ ब्रिक वॉल, If I put partition here made up of cloth and further bifurcated this room, how it will look? That is the concept of bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth. Here the brick wall is the bony and the membranous is the curtain. Understood? Now in between the bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth, there is presence of peridium. And in between the layers of membranous labyrinth, there is endoderm. Okay? Why there should be this labyrinth formation? Because obviously there should be a vibration, and this vibration can be maximum reached if there is maximum surface area. More time the vibration will move here, there in your ear, more amount of accuracy of sound we have. So Priyanshi was saying why it is so complex. Because अगर ऐसा होता कि कॉक्लिया एक सिंगल लाइन मतलब कॉरिडोर जैसा होता तो फिर साउंड का आधा हम लेते बाकी आधा निकल जाता. नाउ पीपल हु डजंट अंडरस्टैंड मे हैव अ स्ट्रेट विंडो इन कॉक्लिया. So it's not like that. We all have cochlea, which is conscious. Now, next is Ayushi is very confused about this 3 layers. So if you like kind of see the membranous labyrinth, which is what I can say inside the bony labyrinth itself, the whole area can be divided, further subdivided. Each of these corridors can be further subdivided into 3 corridors via 2 membranes. What are the 2 membranes? The upper corridor is known as scala vestibuli, middle one media, and then last one tympanic. The membrane which is dividing vestibuli and media is known as Resiner's membrane, and the one which is bacillus. Now in scala media region there are hair cells. These hair cells are actually the thing which is responsible to convert the vibration into nerve impulse. They have ability. So these hair cells just cannot be placed. They should be held tightly by someone. Tightly means this much tightly so that they have ability to movement. But ऐसा भी नहीं sound आया उड़ के चले गए. So supporting cells are present at the base. And these hair cells are raised on whom? The basilar membrane. And on the top of it, there is tectorial membrane. जैसे गिटार में देखना आप उसके जो तार होते हैं वो ऊपर भी बंधे हुए होते नीचे भी बंधे हुए होते. Then only the vibration will be sensed. So that's why अगर एक एंड टूट जाए उसका, the wire will not be tight enough to sense the vibration. Same way, the hair cells are at the bottom part of hair cell is connected to the basilar membrane, and the upper part not Resiner membrane. It is connected to the tectorial membrane. Then just below the Resiner's membrane, it is attaching the tip of these hair cells. Okay. Now, what is the specialty? The specialty is that's all about cochlea. But it's not done. Ear is doing 2 performances. One is hearing and the second one is maintenance of posture. So the maintenance of the posture is done by vestibular apparatus. So what they have? They have semicircular canals. Semicircular canals, 3 of them are vertical. The third one is horizontal. And this solen base part of them have Christi ampulla, which is having what we call bunch of hair cells called capilla. Okay. And apart from these semicircular canals, we have otolith organ. Okay. So what is this otolith organ? It is made up of saccule and vestibule. And the extension of these 2 are known as macule. They are full of hair cells. So finally, these semicircular canals and this otolith organ is responsible for maintenance of balance. And these hair cells present in on basilar membrane, they are also called having a name that is known as organ of Corti. Okay, so is this part clear? So I will now talk about the mechanism of hearing, which is not very difficult. You will be able to understand it very easily. So listen to me carefully. If you have any doubt in any part of ear, you can ask. Do you have? So first is pinna will collect the sound. It will hit the tympanic membrane via a ear canal. So I will draw the flow chart so that it is easy. So I will rub this. Hello. Yes. Okay. Actually, I'm writing this for you people. So if you are talking, I don't think writing is required. So I can explain. You are comfortable for that. So I guess the board is visible to you clearly, Sujal.
Yes, ma'am.
So the vibration of ear ossicle will reach to oval window and then to perilimb. Okay. And then vibration reach to scalar tympani. Now, this Have you ever heard about piezoelectric effect? So ask your physics teacher what is piezoelectric effect and where it is. Quartz. PEIZO. So similar kind of effect is seen in case of hair cells when they bend. They get excited and they release ions, which is considered as impulse. Kindly go through this part and let me know if you have any doubt. Don't get engrossed in writing. Writing without understanding will be of no use. So we successfully completed this chapter. I request everyone to have a look into the videos uploaded by me. Study them by pausing them. Go through your textbook, reference books. You will be able to find out something which is not like discussed here. You can ask, and I am expecting a chart. Types of receptor next time. In notebook only, you don't have to decorate and prepare. Okay? So bye to all of you.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.